Florida takes the L today again for like what, the 5th time this month? Good job, Florida. Titusville, Florida. In a horrifying incident of foster home abuse, let me say that again. Foster home, foster care, foster parents. How many of you guys are familiar with the foster care system? It is a system that is stressed. It is a system that is full. It is a system that is flawed, extremely flawed. There shouldn't be a reason for this system, but the system is there kind of as a fail-safe, so to say, because we do know that human things happen and sometimes you have to come in and step in and take children out of dangerous situations. But we as parents shouldn't be failing our children in this way. So that's the very first thing that I need to say is, why was this baby in foster care to begin with? I want you guys to bookmark that in your brain. We'll come back to it. A horrifying incident of foster home abuse, and a 41-year-old Florida woman has been accused of beating a 4-year-old girl to death and also abusing 2 other children whom she fostered. Lakeisha Mitchell, let me see if I can get her face up on the screen. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Let me get her face up on the screen. That wasn't her. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what some people would consider to be a face. I'm not sure about what you guys think about this, but this is apparently a human face that is called a mugshot from an individual by the name of Lakeisha Mitchell, who is 41 years. Ugh. Man, look, guys, I know that they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and I know some people believe that the Bible says that you should not judge, but I'm here to tell y'all something. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says that you should have righteous judgment. The same judgment that you judge by, that same standard is what you will be judged by. I don't want to hear that no more. We are supposed to judge, and I'm going to tell you guys, if those foster care workers would have looked at this woman and her record and judged her more properly, would we be in this situation? I want y'all to think about that. For everybody who wants to get mad at me talking about you shouldn't judge. They made a judgment call to put children in this individual's care who looks like she literally... Y'all know what I'm going to say now. I'm not going to say it tonight because I don't want to get flagged. But my goodness, this woman and her face. Wow. That's all I'm going to say. We're a little bit politically incorrect over here, but I'm just saying, damn. Let's keep going. She is a resident of Titusville, Florida, and allegedly beat and strangled a 4-year-old little girl. And let me see if I can get this baby's face up on the screen because I want y'all to look at this angel. And I'm going to tell you something. If y'all want to know where my vitriol comes from this picture. Why? Because I remember when my baby girl, my daughter, and shout out to her, when she was that age. I'm going to pause that picture right there. This is easily my favorite picture of this baby. Because I look at this baby and I see my own child. It hurts me to the core because it makes me wonder how this baby ended up in foster care to begin with, which means that the biological father and biological mother failed this child and potentially even the rest of her family. Because why didn't the family members step in? Grandma, grandpa, cousin, auntie, uncle, somebody. The family circle should have been here. Now, I don't know all of the details about those circumstances, but here's what I can tell you. This child ended up being placed with someone else that was not family, that didn't give a crap about this girl, that did not share her biological tie. And I continue to keep saying this, and y'all think I'm only just talking about the men when I say a man can't love a child like he loves his own. That goes for a lot of women too. As much as some people, not all, I gotta preface that, but there are a lot of people out there that believe that mothers in general or women in general are infallible, which means they can do no wrong. They cannot be held accountable. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. And because you breed a mentality like that, people tend to do messed up things because they're just like, hey, ain't nobody gonna hold me accountable. Which is why we end up here. That is what I'm talking about when I'm identifying the problem and the root cause. Did that go over anybody's head? We're going to hold all parties responsible. There are many people that we can hold blame for losing this beautiful baby girl who seems so sweet, so innocent, those beautiful brown eyes of hers. If I could add this baby to my family, I would guarantee she would grow up and become something great, just like my daughter. This is just, it's incredibly sad. And sometimes we have to find comical moments with these sad stories. But let's continue to give you guys some more details. That little girl's name is Joy King-Castro. They actually wrote it backwards here. I don't know why they did it that way. Joy King-Castro is 4 years old, and this baby was strangled to death. Strangled to death. All while filming the assault. Now, I didn't know this. So apparently, that individual filmed this assault on camera. Now the investigation has found that Mitchell has previously assaulted not one, but two other foster children outside of this baby. Two other foster siblings who were returned to their biological mother after welfare workers noticed injuries on these children's bodies. It is being probed right now why Mitchell was allowed to be a foster mom to another child despite having a history of abuse. I want you guys to take note of that. For people who want to blame this on CPS, blame this on the foster care system, this is probably a great moment to do so. They had a huge red flag in front of this individual's face. They ignored it and placed children with her anyway, knowing that she was already abusive. Joy King-Castro, her caseworker's name is Kirsten Larson, highlighted the same and stated, she says she wasn't going to take her, and she notified BFP, which is Brevet Family Partnership, she wasn't going to take her, Lawson alleged. She further claimed Mitchell eventually changed her mind and decided to keep this child. The child was reported dead on August the 25th of 2021 due to brain bleeding from blunt force trauma to the head. That means this baby was 4 years old. Matter of fact, we're actually going to get to this court video here. This is a huge woman. Why am I talking about her size? Why am I talking about her size? Because you're comparing this woman's size to that baby's size. That's why it matters. If that's not the epitome of a bully, then apparently I don't know what the word means. She's probably about 10 times larger than this 4-year-old baby. I want you guys to also notice that you didn't hear about this woman having a husband. It is a very difficult thing to ask for somebody to raise children by themselves with no accountability. This is also where the infallible mindset comes from, which is why it's important for us to have biological mother, biological father, raising children together under the same roof. Because at least both sides will be able to hold each other accountable. But when you only have one voice and one parent, this person acts as they become like a tyrant in their own home because there is nobody to hold them accountable and tell them Hey, this isn't right. You shouldn't do this. Shouldn't speak to a kid this way. Shouldn't put your hands on this baby. Okay? Now let's keep going. Joy King-Castro has stayed at 3 foster homes in the past for long terms before ending up under Mitchell's care. Again, I want y'all to remember, she didn't stay with family members, apparently. Despite an existing record of her behavioral issues, Mitchell denied knowing about the same before taking her in, though caseworker Larson tells otherwise. King-Castro, the little girl, started residing at Mitchell's place since June of 2021 this year. On August the 23rd, 2 days prior to this baby's horrific assault and death, Mitchell had called 911 to report that the 4-year-old girl was unconscious and where else? Y'all watched my channel long enough. Where did they find this baby dead at? Do y'all want to take a guess as I take a sip of my ISO detox tea? Anybody want to take a guess? Where did they find this child dead at? Anybody want to take a guess? Mitchell called 911 to report that the 4-year-old girl was unconscious in the bathtub. Now, I want you guys to notice who are watching the channel right now. Look at how many people typed bathtub before I even spoke it. That's how many stories that continue to keep revolving somehow with children and bathtubs, death in bathtubs, slipping and falling, head trauma and bathtubs, internal bleeding and bathtubs, being fully dressed and dying in a bathtub. However, medical evidence found no trace of the girl drowning. Of course. She was rushed to the hospital on an emergency with suspected injuries. She later died on August the 25th of 2021. But there was a video, and I'm going to warn you guys, I'm about to use some curse words because I'm going to tell you exactly what was said in this message, in this recording. We're not going to show the recording, so don't even ask. We're not going to do that. Okay? But these are probably, so you might want to strap your panties on really tight, strap your boxers on really tight, because this is probably going to bother you what I'm about to say. These are her words. A video found on Mitchell by prosecutors show her beating the 4-year-old girl brutally while saying, "I don't even care. Die, bitch, die." Four years old. This big old stank grown ass woman beat a baby to death and talked to her that way. That baby was 4 years old. This is not my personal opinion. That is the evidence that is on video, on tape. Don't email me talking about, Jay, you weren't there. You don't know what you're talking about. You might want to go talk to the courts about this because that is the evidence that they have. Those are the court documents right there on my screen. And that's what's going to be used against her in court to convict her of what we hope to be at least a life sentence. She filmed it and told this little girl to die. She has been charged with first-degree murder. And y'all know what that comes with. First-degree murder, aggravated child abuse with great bodily harm, neglect of a child, and child abuse. That's what we call a slam dunk case. That ought to be super easy to get her, if not life in prison, the ultimate penalty under law. I don't understand, and there is no excuse for it. Why does she even need to be on planet Earth anymore? Does anybody have a good reason why our tax dollars should go to continuing to make sure that she can breathe oxygen on planet Earth? Seems like it would be fitting in this situation to give this woman the ultimate penalty under law, especially knowing that you have video evidence and she lied on top of that. Speaking to the police during the interrogation, Mitchell insisted that this baby has severe behavioral issues and often spoke to demons. Yeah, blame it on the baby. Blame it on the baby. And we're going to talk about this woman who appears to be crying, that has no tears coming out of her face, which is why I screenshotted it. We're going to talk about her too. Do y'all know who that is? That's the biological mother. She's not off the hook either. She tried to blame it on the baby and say that this baby was speaking to demons. Furthermore, Mitchell's attorney has furnished a report from psychological analyst stating that the minor girl was unable of feeling pain or empathy like other children. That sounds like bull crap. That baby just needed to be around some people that cared about her. Her own biological mother didn't care about her, nor did this foster mother care about her. However, police probe unearthed older records of Mitchell's abuse behavior towards other foster kids as well. So I guess they were probably speaking to demons too, right? I'm sure that's what that was. The 41-year-old foster mother fostered 2 other kids previously whom she beat with belts. And I told you guys, stop spanking your children. If you spank children, stop. Stop doing that. That's a stupid thing to do. If you still spank your children, you are not suitable to be a parent. Stop doing that. If you need help and tips of how to stop spanking your kids, how to be a better parent, email somebody, ask me. I'll be more than happy to try to give you some tips to help you get past doing that. We got to start using our minds and not our fists and our belts. She beat these other kids up with belts, spatulas, shoes, and with her bare hands. In fact, a report dated back from April 20th of 2021, which is only a few months away from August, stated that one of the foster kids was found with a lump on the back of their head with a patch of hair missing. In addition, the child had bruises and abrasions on their face and their buttocks. There were other markings of abuse found on their back and ribs, which apparently were caused by a rope or cord. By a rope or cord. By a rope or cord. What type of alleged discipline is that? That sounds like that's stupidity. There is no way in any shape, form, or fashion ropes and cords and shoes and spatulas and all this and using your hands, that's not discipline. Here's the way I'm going to put this into proper perspective. For anybody listening to the sound of my voice, please do me a favor. Make sure you guys click that thumbs up. Please share this story and let more people know that we're live. Look down, please click that thumbs up. Here is the perfect way for me to explain what I mean. For anybody who can look at this baby's face, I have plenty of pictures. I want y'all to look at this angel's face. She don't speak to demons. She is an angel. She is with God right now, and that baby had love in her heart. I would never accept that. Behavioral issues, my ass. That baby needed love. That baby needed care. That baby needed attention. That baby needed good food. That baby needed unconditional love. She was failed from the moment she was born. But let me give you guys a proper scenario for those who think it is proper to spank your children and hit your children with whatever the hell you can find. And most black folks ought to understand what I'm talking about, because most of us grew up that way. Do you think it's right? Well, let me ask you guys a question. If you think that level of discipline is okay, then I want you guys to explain this to me. I want you guys to explain this to me. This little girl was maybe about 3-4 foot tall. Probably didn't weigh no more than what, 60 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe. If you can beat up and strangle and choke and drown a child, throw a child out of a window, run over children, kick them in the ribs, punch them, body slam them on top of furniture, if people think that type of discipline is okay, if you were a man and you were married to your wife, would you be allowed to spank your wife, hit your wife? Matter of fact, do you know, guys, in marriage, you can't even raise your voice at your wife or look at your wife the wrong way. They have a law about how you look at your wife with your eyeballs. It's called menacing. And it is actually an enforceable law on the books. Don't believe me? Google search it. You can't even look at a grown-ass woman a certain way who actually has the strength, because women are strong, right? They're strong, right? They can do anything a man can do, right? And I'll agree with you. Women are awesome. Women are amazing. Women are strong. They can do anything a man can do. Well, if that's the case, then why aren't they allowed to defend themselves the same way as a man would have to defend himself? They would throw a man under the jail. So why don't we throw parents who beat their children, spank their children, menace their children? Why aren't they in jail? Why do they get to keep their kids and continue to subject their children to abuse? We protect grown women more than we do little princesses like Joy, like this baby. Why does a grown woman get more privilege than this baby? Guess what she's going to be when she grows up? If she would have been allowed to grow up, she would have become a woman. Was she not? She would have been a teenage girl. Was she not? So if we have to protect women, why don't we protect girls? I think that's a very valid question. But if I'm wrong, please type your comments in the comment section and let me know if I'm wrong about what I'm saying. Let me give you guys the fair usage, and we'll go ahead and get started with the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. You can't beat your wife, but you can beat your kids. I'm sorry, but somebody please tell me where's the logic in that. I just don't know.
We are learning a Titusville foster mom accused of beating a child to death in August had children removed from her care before.
Lakeisha Mitchell is facing charges of murder and child abuse in the death of 4-year-old Joy King-Castro. Channel 9's Ashley Etlin has been following every development in the story and joins us live in the studio with these new details. Ashley?
Well, Darlene, I've been piecing together the timeline, and we're told the children removed from the home of that foster mother, Lakeisha Mitchell, were removed due to quality of care issues. Now, that source tells us it happened sometime in March or April. Meanwhile, the young girl who ultimately died while in her care was placed in the home weeks later.
In August, 4-year-old Joy King-Castro was rushed to Parrish Medical Center. Her foster mother telling 911 she was found unconscious, her lips blue. Joy was soon declared brain dead and died days later. Right away, Titusville investigators said the story her foster mother, 41-year-old Lakeisha Mitchell, told them didn't match the severity of Joy's injuries. Bruising above the left eye, swelling to the forehead, and other trauma. Mitchell is now facing a first-degree murder charge and child abuse charges in the case. Immediately, Channel 9 began digging into Mitchell's past as a foster parent. Documents we obtained show Mitchell was a foster parent prior to having Joy in her care. A source now telling us sometime in March or April of this year, at least 2 children in Mitchell's care were removed over quality of care allegations. That source telling us this happened months before 4-year-old Joy was placed in Mitchell's home. I called Brevard Family Services, the agency Joy was part of, to ask if they removed the other children, then placed Joy in Mitchell's home. They told me they cannot comment on an active investigation. I then reached out to DCF and asked the same question. They have not responded, but have said in the past they cannot comment as the investigation is still active. So I sat down with a family law attorney.
Ultimately, what do you think a case like this says about the system?
I think it says that we need to reevaluate how we're doing things.
Attorney Conti Moore-Smith says she believes Joy slipped through the cracks of an overworked, underfunded system, a system she says now has to make changes.
We need to look at, the funding, and we need to look at, the training, and we need to look at and reevaluate a lot of different things, because it wasn't just one thing that led to this young girl losing her life.
Moore-Smith says those DCF caseworkers often juggle more than they can handle.
You can tell it's like several hundred, like it's a lot. And sometimes the DCF workers can only scratch the surface.
And it leads to deaths like Joy's.
We need to keep asking questions, being involved, and holding them accountable. Every agency.
Now, I reached out to Joy's family. They weren't available to comment on this story. They tell me, though, this has been devastating for them, and they're trying to just keep going one day at a time. Meanwhile, Mitchell has pleaded not guilty. She has a bond hearing on October 25th. Live in the studio, Ashley Edlin, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
We're learning new details tonight about the Brevard County foster mother now charged with murder and child abuse in the death of a 4-year-old foster child.
Investigators say that child suffered severe abuse while in the woman's care and ultimately died from her injuries. Channel 9's Ashley Edlin uncovered documents from Brevard Family Services, the agency that placed the child, and she joins us now in studio. And Ashley, those documents shed more light on the foster mother's past.
Vanessa, I have those documents right in my hands here, and they are from Brevard Family Partnership, as you said. They amount to 500 plus pages detailing a home study and background check completed on that foster mother, Lakeisha Mitchell. Now, the background came just months before this child was placed in Mitchell's care. At that time, the agency recommended Mitchell's status as a foster parent be upgraded.
Tonight, 41-year-old
I don't understand how they missed that. They asked for her status to be upgraded. Maybe I can understand a slight oversee where maybe you're just like at her current status and then potentially look at placing the child, but you went a step further. Foster care, CPS, or whoever it was went a step further and upgraded her status, and they had no reason to do so. When you do such a thing, don't you have to do some type of damn research to at least look at your own records and see, oh snaps, that's right. We took children out of this broad's custody because she's a horrible foster parent for beating children. So we're going to put more children in her custody and so she can beat them as well. Well, guess what? She did. She's a creature of habit. She did. How they say on Family Guy? This is a thug foster parent. We talk about the thug zoo. You took these foster children and literally took them to the damn zoo, and then wonder why this foster hippopotamus went and mauled your child to death. And I don't know if you guys know about this, but hippos are actually some of the most dangerous creatures on planet Earth to humans. How many of y'all knew that? Hippos are extremely dangerous to humans, and they kill many humans every single year. They had zero reason, zero incentive to place this child back in this same woman's care who lost custody of not one, but two. You had two examples of children who will beat the hell up. But why did she get another chance? Oh, that's right. Because it seems like people only care about collecting benefits off of these children. And what do we call that? Hashtag babies for benefits. Using children for the benefits that you could collect off of those children. Yep.
Keisha Mitchell sits behind bars in Titusville. She's facing a first-degree murder charge and child abuse charges after
Just from that picture, from that screenshot, that woman looked like she a good 5'11", damn near 6 foot tall. She is a Goliath compared to that little girl. That's ridiculous.
Mitchell sits behind bars in Titusville. She's facing a first-degree murder charge and child abuse charges after investigators say this child, 4-year-old Joy King-Castro, was found unresponsive in her care in late August and died.
You will never convince me. There's nobody on planet Earth that will ever convince me. And I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up. When you look at that baby and you tell me she has behavioral issues. No, she don't. No, she didn't. You give it to me, and this would have never have happened. That baby just needed love like all children do, of all races, all nationalities. All children need love. They need love from the moment that they come from the womb, not until you wait and get them in 3 or 4 foster homes, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to figure out, what does this child need? No, this child needs consistency, structure, and love from day one. All children do. Instability is not good for any child, but let's keep going.
Reports Channel 9 obtained from the Titusville Police Department detail what Mitchell says went wrong. Here, Mitchell told investigators August 23rd Joy was throwing a tantrum. Mitchell told investigators often after or during tantrums, Joy would pretend to be unconscious. Mitchell says she put her in a filled bathtub to get her to stop. She then told officers she left the room soon after. And when she came back, she found Joy slumped over, unresponsive, her lips blue. Joy was rushed to Parrish Medical Center, then Arnold Palmer Children's Hospital, where she was soon declared brain dead. That same report details Joy's injuries, bruising above the left eye, swelling to the forehead, and other trauma. Investigators said Mitchell's story and the injuries didn't match. Channel 9 did some digging and found out Joy was placed in Mitchell's care sometime this spring. Months prior, these documents show a home study was completed in February to determine if Mitchell's home was safe for children. The documents show Mitchell was a foster parent prior to having Joy in her care, and she was recommended for more responsibility. The document says, quote, Brevard Family Partnership recommends Lakeisha Mitchell be licensed as a level 2 foster home for 2 children with little to moderate behavioral issues. Joy's family sat down with us this August. Her mother and grandmother said Joy had behavioral problems.
Whoa. Let me rewind this. Here go the family finally. This is ironic. Look at this.
In her care, and she was recommended for more responsibility. The document says, quote, Brevard Family Partnership recommends Lakeisha Mitchell be licensed as a level 2 foster home for 2 children with little to moderate behavioral issues. Joy's family.
Look at this. What do y'all notice from this photo right here?
Sat down with.
This is this girl's alleged family. When y'all look at this, what do y'all see? And I want y'all to remember, there is a lot to learn from the words that I speak. If you get mad about something I've said, then it probably means you're not looking deeper than except for on the surface of what I said. You got to look really, really deep. When y'all look at my screen, what does this look like? Six girl got it. Ami got it. And y'all did make some secondary observations that are definitely very important, because health is very important, because you guys know that I've been actually trying to work on my health, drink a whole lot of water and get my health in line, because us as a community, as Black people, we die of heart disease each and every year, and we die very young, starting as early as 30 years and 40 years of age. Where are the husbands? Where are the men? Is this what we're considering her family? So you mean to tell me between 4 women, 4 allegedly capable women, they still had to find and place this girl with other foster parents? Quite interesting.
Thus, this August, her mother and grandmother said Joy had behavioral problems and was in several homes before ending up with Mitchell.
They failed her.
Mitchell told investigators she had concerns about, quote, extreme behavioral issues, and she had been asking for help.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you.
This is the biological mother. And if y'all want to see her interview, I have an interview that has her speaking a little bit longer. How many of y'all want to hear what the biological mother has to say?
Extreme behavioral issues, and she had been asking for help.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything. I saw my daughter, my 4-year-old baby, hooked up to tubes down her throat. Multiple blows on the left side of her cheek. Her mouth's blue.
The family of a young girl who...
This is the biological mother. And I want y'all to listen to her interview. She's going to talk a little bit longer. Y'all let me know when y'all start to see the tears flow. Please let me know.
I saw my daughter, my 4-year-old baby, hooked up to tubes down her throat. Multiple blows on the left side of her cheek. Her mouth's blue.
The family of a young girl who police say died in the care of her foster mother last week is speaking out, and speaking out only on 9.
Just that little clip is so emotional. Titusville police.
I agree with y'all in the chat. Somebody said she was the first person to fail her daughter. Let's keep going. I agree. Let's keep going.
Say the child was first taken to a Brevard hospital unconscious with severe bruising.
Please make sure you guys click that thumbs up, by the way, if you're listening. Make sure y'all click that thumbs up, please. Our goal is 600.
She was then transferred to an Orlando hospital, declared brain dead, and died. Her family told Channel 9's Ashley Edlin they saw the warning signs and they want answers.
The 24th is when I got the call from the manager of DCF saying, hey, Ms. King, I need you to come to Parish Medical Center. Your daughter is found unconscious.
For Nikisha Hicks King, the past week has been a nightmare. Her 4-year-old daughter Joy died after Titusville police say she was abused and neglected while in the care of her foster mother, 41-year-old Lakeisha Mitchell. Mitchell is now behind bars facing charges of neglect and abuse.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything.
King told me her children were removed from her home in January because of potential abuse by the father of one of her children. She puts the blame on herself.
I made a mistake and trusted somebody. This is not just a random person. This was my youngest child's father, and I trusted him with my kids.
King and her mother, Latasha.
What y'all want to bet the father has a criminal record? You think that she said this was not just a random man, so that means that she was already thinking about what people like me would say about this story. It wasn't just a random man that I was sleeping with, my boyfriend. It was my child's father. That doesn't make him a good person, ma'am. Do you even do a background check to even see if maybe he's on the sex offenders list? Do you even look to see if he was maybe in prison for murder? Did you look at any of that? Since he was already clearly abusive to your little bitty defenseless children? It's real interesting how that works. What y'all want to bet? I'd be willing to bet somebody $100 that by this weekend, she's going to have a GoFundMe up. What y'all want to bet? Y'all want to bet some money on it? I want somebody to put some money on it. $100 says she's going to have a GoFundMe by this weekend. Help me bury my kid, y'all. Y'all, I want to give her the best funeral ever in the history of funerals, y'all. I want her to have a diamond casket, and I want her to be laced with Dorothy from the what's that movie? The Wizard of Oz. I want her to have her shoes on, y'all, and I want to bury her at Mount Sinai itself. It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything.
King told me her children were removed from her home in January because of potential abuse by the father of one of her children.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything.
King told me her children were removed from her home in January because
her children were taken out of her custody and she blamed it on the dad. Listen at this.
of potential abuse by the father of one of her children. She puts the blame on herself.
I made a mistake and trusted somebody. This is not just a random person. This was my youngest child's father, and I trusted him with my kids.
King and her mother, LaTanya Hicks, say Joy had behavioral problems and was in several homes before ending up with Mitchell.
When my baby first got placed.
How many behavioral problems can a 3 or 4-year-old have? She's 4. She's 4, not 14. I could understand if you said this 14-year-old young girl won't listen. She keeps sneaking out of the house and going to go see boys. That might be a problem. 4 years old? She just started learning to walk and talk and maybe even learn what's 5 plus 5. I don't know. I don't know what kids at that age learn. It's been a while. Hell, my daughter's about to be 15 coming pretty soon. How bad could she be? That sounds like bad parenting to me, if you ask me.
Father, and I trusted him with my kids.
King and her mother, LaTanya Hicks, say Joy had behavioral problems and was in several homes before ending up with Mitchell.
When my baby first got placed in her home, Ms. Mitchell reached out to me and told me who she was. She said, I have your baby in my home, and I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that she's in good hands.
But she says she started noticing something wasn't right during one of her unsupervised visits around early June.
She was in so much pain. She didn't have bruises. I checked her body. She didn't have bruises, but her body was in pain.
Nikisha says she went to the case manager.
And I'm going to call something else. And I'm going to call something else out. I want y'all to notice something about this story, who's lacking in this story. And I want y'all to tell me what you believe is missing in that little girl's life. Because I think I know exactly what was missing in that 4-year-old girl's life. Why she might have been giving them behavioral issues. I think I know the reason. Do y'all know the reason? I know.
With Brevard Family Partnership.
When I approached my case manager at the end of that visit, she looked at me and said, she fell.
She says she reached out to the case manager again when she noticed burn marks on the little girl's arms, but claims the caseworker did nothing. Then, tragedy.
I can't hear my baby's voice anymore. I miss Joy so much. So much. That's all I think about. She's all I think about.
Through the tears, they tell me their next steps are to fight for justice.
They failed her.
I spoke to...
They failed. They're pointing the finger at everybody else except that they failed her. Really? Let me tell you guys something. I want y'all to notice how this woman had all girls. When they stepped up to the podium to go speak, all of those, it was 4 women. The individual that this little baby was placed with was also a woman with no man at the house. No man at home, no husband, no stability. This baby was missing a man, a male figure in her life. She needed her father. That's what she needed. Not only just her father, but she needed a great father. Not just a good father, she needed a great father. She was missing the balance, the yin to the yang, the push to the pull. She needed balance, stability, her father, and a great father. No man.
Foster mom in Brevard County has now been charged with murder after a young girl in her care died last month. Lakeisha Mitchell faces first-degree premeditated murder, and as West 2's Marley Martinez learned, she was not only a foster mother, but an employee with the school district.
Damn. I didn't even know that. So she was a school teacher? What do y'all want to bet that she was probably abusing the school kids too? I bet you they was probably just too afraid to say anything. What do y'all want to bet that she was probably abusing the school children too?
Foster mom in Brevard County has now been charged with murder after a young girl in her care died last month. Lakeisha Mitchell faces first-degree premeditated murder, and as West 2's Marley Martinez learned, she was not only a foster mother, but an employee with the school district.
She worked for the school.
Her mother, but an employee with the school district.
Okay, Miss Mitchell, Lakeisha Mitchell is behind bars without bond.
She's been arrested now on murder in the first degree.
The 41-year-old foster mom has been in jail since August 23rd, at first charged with aggravated child neglect and abuse,
which is a first-degree felony,
after a 4-year-old girl in her care died. Now that charge has been bumped up to first-degree murder.
It's the most heinous crime that we have in society.
Titusville police say they went to Mitchell's home on Queen Street after she called 911, saying the girl was unresponsive. According to the arrest report, Mitchell says the girl was throwing a temper tantrum and faking that she was unconscious. So to calm her, Mitchell told police she put the girl in the bathtub. Mitchell says she left.
And I want y'all to keep in mind, when she put her in the bathtub, she put her in the bathtub with all her clothes on and a tub full of water. Who does that? What kind of level of dumb is that? What parents put their children in water with their clothes on? What? And I'm not saying that she should have. Just never mind. I'm gonna just play the damn video. This is making me mad.
The bathroom, and when she came back, the girl was unresponsive.
I was thinking that also. How does she fake like she's being unconscious at 4 years? Never mind. This whole story is stupid.
She died at the hospital 2 days later. But the medical examiner later found no evidence of drowning. An autopsy instead found the girl died of blunt force trauma to the head and strangulation.
Our focus in this investigation is to ensure that justice is found for the young child and her family.
According to Brevard Public Schools, Mitchell was an employee for the past 5 years, first as a custodian and then most recently as a clerk at Coquina Elementary. A district spokesperson says she was fired after her arrest. Meanwhile, investigators aren't saying exactly how many other foster children may have been inside of the home, saying that's part of the ongoing investigation.
If y'all have the GoFundMe link, I didn't know it was available. If somebody has that link, post it in the chat or email it to me. Let me know when you email me Joy King-Castro's GoFundMe link. If you have it, email it to me or let me know. Put it in the chat if you've got it.
She had been a foster mom for a few years, so there's likelihood there was other children in that house throughout the last couple of years.
In Titusville, Marlene Martinez.
She started caring for Joy this spring. On August 23rd, investigators say Mitchell dialed 911, saying she found the girl unconscious in a bathtub with water. She claimed she put Joy in that tub because she thought the 4-year-old was pretending to be unconscious, but doctors say the extensive injuries they found just don't match her story. Joy died 2 days later. Channel 9's Ashley Edlin has been on this story from the very beginning, working her sources. She's live tonight. And Ashley, Mitchell complained about Joy's behavior during her interview with police.
Martha, Mitchell says she reached out to Brevard Family Partnership, the agency that Joy was in the care of, multiple times. She says she expressed concerns about Joy's behavior, but we know Joy remained in her care.
This camera was rolling inside a Titusville police interrogation room August 23rd.
Any conditions that would make you worried about Joy? Besides her behavior? Besides behavioral, that's the main thing.
It was the day 4-year-old Joy King-Castro was found lifeless in a bathtub in her foster mother's home. During the hour-long interview, Mitchell told police she had been reaching out to the foster agency, Brevard Family Partnership, for help to deal with Joy's behavioral issues.
That's how I was thinking, how to get her help, how to get Joy help.
Mitchell tells the investigator Joy was having tantrums, being aggressive with other kids, and even though a behavioralist was assigned to her case, it wasn't getting any better as time went on.
She keeps doing this and keeps escalating. That's why there was a constant call to the lady, like, y'all gotta do something.
Mitchell says she told the agency she didn't think her home was the right fit.
Have you been in contact?
Look at how big she is. That is a huge woman. Look at that. She's standing next to a big grown man. And she beat up like a big old bully. She beat up a baby. That is disgusting.
The agency, she didn't think her home was the right fit.
Have you been in contact with the case manager trying to get her moved? Yes, I talked to her. I even texted her one time. It's like, hey, I don't think this is going to work out.
But Joy remained in the home until the day she died. Eyewitness News has been looking into this story for months. We obtained this police report that says 3 months prior to Joy's death, 2 other foster children were removed from Mitchell's care over abuse allegations. Joy was placed in her custody 1 month later.
Now, I reached out to the caseworker today.
So in less than a month, they just was like, screw it. Screw what we know, what we just did. We just literally took kids away from you, but for abuse, and then gave her another kid anyway. Listen to this again.
Hey, I don't think this is going to work out.
But Joy remained in the home until the day she died. Eyewitness News has been looking into this story for months. We obtained this police report that says 3 months prior to Joy's death, 2 other foster children were removed from Mitchell's care over abuse allegations. Joy was placed in her custody 1 month later.
Now, I reached out to the caseworker today for Joy, and she told me that Lakeisha Mitchell had help if she needed it. She just says that every single time Lakeisha Mitchell would reach out, she would retract that and say she no longer needed the help, that Joy was okay to stay in her home, and everything was absolutely fine. I also reached out to Brevard Family Partnership today for comment, and they told me that they cannot comment right now because this is an active investigation. Live in Brevard County, Ashley Edlin, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Now, I placed a wager in the chat. I said she would have a GoFundMe up by this weekend. Well, apparently I didn't realize that she already had a GoFundMe up. It is alive and it is active. Would you guys care to take a look at this GoFundMe? Let me place it on my desktop here. GoFundMe. Let me bring this up so you guys can take a look at this. This is coming from the family side. The family who are now asking for money, but did not ask for custody of this child. I want to make sure that y'all hear me and hear me clearly. They did not ask for custody, which is what this girl desperately needed. She needed to be around a family that loved and cared about her. But did they ask for her? No. Did they care about her? No. But what they did do, put up a damn GoFundMe. And asked for $5,000. Is this not disgusting? And I've told you guys, it is not smart to donate to GoFundMe when you're talking about burying children. GoFundMe should be used for life, not for death. We wouldn't put $5,000 into this girl's life. Why would we put it into the ground and put it into death? How does that make any sense? The family put this GoFundMe up. Let me read it to you. It says, Nikisha King, who is the organizing fundraiser, or the organizer of this fundraiser. Hi, my name is Mariah, and I'm reaching out today in need of support for my sister, Nikisha, who's the biological mother. It goes on to say that last year, Nikisha's grandmother, whom she lived with along with her 4 daughters, Yanel, Soraya, Joy, and Promise, tragically passed away due to cancer. Oh my God. I'm going to read this again. I need y'all to see this on my screen so y'all can see exactly what I'm seeing. Take a look at this. Last year, Nikisha's grandmother, whom she lived with along with her 4 daughters, in this world, in this society, they give you Section 8 In this world, in this society, they give you food stamps. In this world, in this society, they give you this little thing called child support. And this thing in our society, they give you housing even if you can't get Section 8 housing in the, what do you call that? In the shelters. Please, somebody explain to me. I'm sorry, but Lord, I'm never going to understand. I'm never going to understand how somebody like this, who would normally get a ton of help from the entire world and from tax-paying citizens, would have one child. Having sex, then have another child. Having sex, then have another child. Having sex, then have another child. So you didn't realize that at the first child that you couldn't take care of that child, when maybe even before that child you couldn't properly take care of yourself? If you don't have a savings account before you have children, you probably shouldn't be a parent. If you don't have a house of your own before you have children, then you probably shouldn't be a parent. If you are not married, actively married, not a promise to be married, not a serious boyfriend, not a, we moving in that direction. If you don't have a ring on your finger with a marriage certificate, then maybe you shouldn't have children. But not only do you forego all of that shit, but you turn around and have the first kid. Now you can't afford to take care of that one. What do? Turn around and blame the man. It's the man's fault. Okay, so what do you do next time around? Have a second kid. Then I'm going to blame that man. It's all his fault. Men ain't nothing. Men ain't shit, right? Now you got 2 kids. Then what do? Turn around and get with the next thug. And now you say, oh, well, I thought this man was going to be something. He promised me he was going to be a good man, y'all. He was going to be a good man, y'all. Then what you do? You turn around. What did they say? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What about what happens when you fool me 3 and 4 times? Who do you blame then? You blame CPS on the 4th time? Is that how it works? You blame the foster parent on the 3rd one. You blame CPS on the 4th one? But it's supposed to be my body, my choice. You're supposed to have access to birth control. You're supposed to have access to condoms. You're supposed to be able to tell a man if you don't want to have sex unprotected, no. No means no, right, ladies? Hello. Am I preaching or am I talking some BS today? $5,000 GoFundMe, and this broad with 4 kids claiming to be a good mother, living off of her grandmother, who grandma probably couldn't even afford to take care of herself, let alone yo grown ass and all 4 of your kids. Huh? Y'all gotta forgive me. I just got a whole lot to say. Took care of her and her 4 kids, and she died from cancer. Damn, man. Do y'all not know anybody who suffered from cancer? Don't y'all think that's a pretty traumatic thing, right? I know my grandmother died from cancer. What about y'all? Do y'all have a family member knowing the fact that 1 out of 2 Americans are going to get cancer and die of cancer? Huh? Do y'all think that somebody who needs help and support? Hello? People with cancer need help and support, not to be trying to take care of somebody else's kids and another grown-ass person who refuses to close their legs. Why do you get to have sex and have all the damn fun, but take none of the responsibility? Oh, shit, man. I know I'm going to get flaggy tonight. Are y'all triggered yet? I told you better put your big girl panties on tonight. Better put your big boy boxers on tonight, y'all. Thank you, Josh. Exactly. This is what I mean by infallible. Nobody has held this woman responsible for her choices. Huh? Y'all want to read the rest of this bull crap? Like to hear it go. Let's keep going, y'alls. Let's keep going, y'alls. In an attempt To find a home for her family, she moved to Florida to be with the family of her youngest child. So she gonna live off of somebody else. The family agreed to help Nikisha and the girls out with housing, and I'm sure they meant a home or home child care housing, which sounds like Section 8. Nikki worked third shift to make ends meet. I would love to know what job she was working at. This will ultimately turn into the worst mistake of her life because it resulted in DCF taking her children and placing them in state custody, trying to deem her as unfit. Oh my goodness, this is a long GoFundMe message. At least they were thorough. In order to regain custody of her children, Nikisha had to follow every rule in place by DCF. She worked and still works 40 hours plus. She has her own housing and all the needs to meet the requirements to bring her kids back home. The custody battle of her children are weighing on her heavily, but she never gave up on her kids. That's debatable, but we'll get back to it. The custody battle of her children weighed on her heavily, but she never gave up. She ended all contact with her youngest child's family, never missed a court date, and answered every beckoning wish requested by DCF. But somehow the abuse came from the inside. DCF placed all four of Nikki's kids in different households, which is the ultimate scare. Let's pause right there. First of all, they would have had to have a reason to take your kids, which would have been the abuse that those kids suffered, which is why, yeah, she left that part out. Thank you. Y'all caught that. Y'all in the chat caught it. She conveniently left that part out. Abuse was why the kids were taken. And y'all can see they carefully wrote all of this bullcrap, but left that out. Nikki felt as if it was a maze. Joy. They labeled a 4-year-old as being a bad child when she would only act out because she wasn't being loved in the same manner as her mother Nikisha would display. DCF looked past Joy's cry for help. Unfortunately, Nikisha would receive a devastating call the night of August 24th that would flip her world upside down. Her precious 4-year-old daughter, Joy, at the hands of a foster parent put in place by DCF, lost her life after being found unresponsive in what else but a bathtub. Nikisha voiced her concern that they would turn her away, leaving her to feel hopeless. But she never gave up. This incident resulted in the arrest of her foster parent, Lakeisha Mitchell, who was being charged with first-degree murder and second-degree child abuse. Joy will never grow up to be that doctor. Joy will never see her siblings. Joy was failed many times, including by her mother, by the way. Thought I'd throw that out there. Little ad-lib. Her mother will never get to see her daughter's shining smile ever again. I'm asking $5,000 in donations to help for funeral costs for baby Joy. So let me ask you guys a question. Do y'all think that she would be held responsible for funerals for children she didn't have custody of? Matter of fact, you know what most states do when children are the victims of crimes like this, like first-degree murder? The state picks up the bill for burying the children. She does not need $5,000 for a burial. And if you have what appears to be 26 donors, then it sounds like you're just giving her $5,000 just to be giving her $5,000. When I'm sorry, I could think of a lot of better things to do with $5,000 damn dollars. There's a lot that if I had $5,000 in my pocket right now, I could go do for some children right now that could use it. Get them some school books. Get them some shoes. Get them some clothes. Get them into some programs. There's a lot of things you could do for children with $5,000 damn dollars rather than giving it to a mom who absolutely lost custody because she was a bad mom.
I saw my daughter, my 4-year-old baby, hooked up to tubes down her throat. Multiple blows on the left side of her cheek. Her mouth's blue.
The family of a young girl who police say died in the care of her foster mother last week is speaking out and speaking out only on 9.
Just that little clip is so emotional. Titusville police say the child was first taken to a Brevard hospital unconscious with severe bruising. She was then transferred to an Orlando hospital, declared brain dead, and died. Her family told Channel 9's Ashley Edlin they saw the warning signs and they want answers.
The 24th is when I got the call from the manager of DCF saying, hey, Ms. King, I need you to come to Parish Medical Center. Your daughter is found unconscious.
For Nikisha Hicks King, the past week has been a nightmare. Her 4-year-old daughter Joy died after Titusville police say she was abused and neglected while in the care of her foster mother, 41-year-old Lakeisha Mitchell. Mitchell is now behind bars facing charges of neglect and abuse.
It's not normal to see your child laying there and you can't do anything.
King told me her children were removed from her home in January because of potential abuse by the father of one of her children. She puts the blame on herself.
I made a mistake and trusted somebody. This is not just a random person. This was my youngest child's father, and I trusted him with my kids.
King and her mother, LaTanya Hicks, say Joy had behavioral problems and was in several homes before ending up with Mitchell.
When my baby first got placed in her home, Ms. Mitchell reached out to me and told me who she was. She said, I have your baby in my home, and I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that she's in good hands.
But she says she started noticing something wasn't right during one of her unsupervised visits around early June.
She was in so much pain. She didn't have bruises. I checked her body. She didn't have bruises, but her body was in pain.
Nikisha says she went to the case manager with Brevard Family Partnership.
When I approached my case manager at the end of that visit, she looked at me and said, she fell.
She says she reached out to the case manager again when she noticed burn marks on the little girl's arms, but claims the caseworker did nothing. Then, tragedy.
I can't hear my baby's voice anymore. I miss Joy so much. So much. That's all I think about. She's all I think about.
Through the tears, they tell me their next steps are to fight for justice.
They failed her.
I spoke to Brevard Family Partnership, the agency Joy was in the custody of. I requested documents from them, and I also asked them today if they wanted to be part of this story. They told me they would get back to me. I also got in touch with DCF, and they told me they have an active investigation into this case. Reporting in Orlando, Ashley Edlin, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Just heartbreaking. All right, Ashley.
And I know we got some people that just got here. If y'all would do me a favor and make sure and please click that thumbs up. And we want to try to get as many thumbs up as people are watching right now. So if we can get there, all it does is help share this story. And I'm going to tell you guys something. This story is despicable for a number of reasons. And I hope that you guys, instead of being triggered, and when I say triggered, I mean that with all due respect, because you should be triggered. But don't be triggered for the wrong reasons. I want y'all to be triggered for these babies. Be triggered for the children. Be triggered for those who cannot speak for themselves and for those who are too small to defend themselves against the tyranny of their caretakers. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Mom, if she were a real mom, a really good mom, a respectable mom, would have just said, hey, this is my fault. I'm the reason why I lost my children. I failed my children for putting them around an adult that was not a suitable parent. I chose a father for my children that was not suitable. The only way that we can get better is when we recognize there's a problem, identify, like we talked about in troubleshooting, identify the problem. You have to first be able to look at yourself with the critical eye. And that's the thing that I love about my father. Shout out to my biological father, my real father, been there my entire life. Has always held me accountable for the choices that I make and the situations that I get myself into. And I used to think, well, why does he do it that way? I'm not so sure about this, Dad. Because he puts the responsibility on me to get myself in and out of situations, to put myself in the most advantageous situations, because at some point I have to be autonomous and do it myself. And I've noticed Ever since then, there are too many people who have never been held accountable, who have always had the safety net underneath them, who have always had somebody else doing the work for them, which causes these children to be in these situations that they should not be in. If we're going to say there was a failure, the failure should start with the mom, should start with the grandmother, should start with all those ladies who had all of that courage to walk up there and go do that interview and talk about how bad the rest of the world is. It should have started with them. Because with 3 of those 4 women should have been candidates to take in that baby, should have taken in this baby who all she needed was love. Even the mother hinted to that. The biological mother said the only reason she behaves that way is because she wants love. And I've said that. That's not a bad baby, and no babies are bad. Can y'all put that in the chat, please? Facts. No babies are bad. If you're the type of person to be like, ooh, them kids is bad, girl, stop doing that. That is detrimental. And you're speaking death on those children. I'm not going to tell too much of my personal business, but I've watched people do that to people that I love. And I've watched how it's torn them down and made them feel like they needed to be a badass and be destructive and be this horrible person that people will call them. They don't say, ooh, them kids is bad in an affectionate way. That's destructive, and you're not speaking love into people when you do that. You are not disciplining your children if you have to physically discipline them. That does not teach children respect. It only teaches children fear. Trust me, I come from a background that was raised from a background, that was raised from a background, that was raised from a background, that we all went through physical spankings, and it's not right. And we can do better. We can grow. We can learn to be better than our past. Did CPS fail? Abso-freaking-lutely. They had a big red flag in front of that file that said this woman has already lost children, and you knew it less than 30 days ago. It wasn't like it was 30 years ago. It wasn't like it was 30 months ago. 1 month prior. 1 month prior, you knew, and you said, screw it, let's upgrade her status to put this baby in danger. That's essentially what you said. So should CPS be charged? Yes. Should the caseworker be charged? Yes. Should that big old nasty woman that murdered this baby with her big bully self do life in prison? Yes. Did the mother, the biological mother, deserve to lose her children? Yes. Does she deserve to lose that GoFundMe? Yes. Did she take advantage of everybody around her, family and friends, grandmothers, baby daddies? Yes. She is a horrible example of a mother. Now, why people are rewarding her? What is she going to learn by you giving her a $5,000 GoFundMe? What do you think she's going to do? Go get some more dick? Go get another baby? She's just going to pop out another one. But as far as this individual here, this old, you gonna eat your cornbread face looking ass? Disgusting. Should have never have had a chance to be around this kid, nor the previous 2 kids, nor be allowed to work in schools. Think about this. How many of them kids went to those schools that she was at? I'm done because I feel like I'm going to say something that's going to get me flagged. Oh my goodness. This is horrible. So we'll bring you guys an update when we get our final sentencing, and then we'll just go from there. But let me get this baby's picture up here. This is not a problem child. This is a princess. So to young Joy, young baby girl, 4 years old, princess, R.I.P. We are so sorry this world failed you. You were a good girl, and people out there like us, our heart goes out to you. We love you. Thank you guys so much for listening with an open mind as well as an open heart. Very important. Thank y'all for listening to her story.